TCI is brought to you by Spendthrift Farm, home of Into Mischief, a brilliant Grade 1 winning juvenile by Harlan's Holiday.
Welcome back to TCI, your inside track to the Breeders' Cup. Alongside Joel Cunningham, I'm John Siegel. Joel, it's Super Saturday. We have a lot of super horses running and a lot of horses on the TCI top 5, so we're going to jump right in. We got a lot of races to talk about. I want to jump in with the juvenile fillies here. We see the Chandelier at Santa Anita. We see our number 1 in action, Fascinating. Joel, she's a maiden. Does she get it done in a Grade 1?
Well, you got to be concerned, John, because she hasn't reached the winner's circle yet, and she draws a rail in here. Not a good draw for her. She's definitely going to get shuffled back early because she's not a speed-type filly. Watch out for Awesome Baby in here getting loose. I think she's the main threat from the Baffert barn, but Fascinating. The thing I liked about her, John, is getting around 2 turns. She gets to do that now, so if she can show good tracking speed and show a good final 3/8 move, I think it sets her up well for the Breeders' Cup.
All right, let's stay with the 2-year-olds and stay at Santa Anita, and let's talk about Can the Man. He's currently number 4 on the TCI top 5 for the juveniles. Do you think that he has room to improve? Can he move up with a win on Saturday?
I think he can. Right now he's number 4 in our top 5, John, but here's a colt for Bob Baffert that has the pedigree, again, to handle a mile and a 16 fine. I like his style for that type of middle distance, particularly around 2 turns. I think he's going to excel there. The California 2-year-old colts aren't that good, frankly. I think he's the best of them, and he has to prove it Saturday. All
right, let's go to the East Coast now, and let's talk about the Vosburg. Joel, obviously this is a win and in for the sprint. We see our number 2 in here, Private Zone. Do you think with a win in here, could he get to number 1?
A very interesting move from Doug O'Neill to take this horse, fly him all the way from California to New York. There's a lot of rival speed in here. I mean, he's all gas, John. I think he's really set up with his lick to have a good performance in the Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita. I think he's tailor-made for that race. If he comes back, I like this comeback race. But the Strapping Groom, I think he has a ton of speed as well. And then you have some stalkers in here. The Lumber Guy, the defending champion, Justin Phillip, a horse that might have bounced last time out, but ran well in the Vanderbilt. That is a tough, tough race. And Bohemian Squall is another one. The Vosburg is going to tell us a lot about the sprint division.
All right, let's go out to the West Coast now. You talked about horse shipping from West Coast to East Coast. We have one that shipped from the East Coast to the West Coast. Yep. Joel, this race is full of horses from the TCI top 5, including Beholder. We see Include Me Out, and then Authenticity, the horse I was talking about.
Yeah, Authenticity is actually the horse I like in here, John. She loves a mile and a 16th. Beholder's going to be your favorite in here, but Beholder has rival speed that, I tell you what, Joyful Victory, if she hooks up early with Beholder, I think Authenticity can sit right off them, prove to be very tough in here. She gets away from Royal Delta, the queen of this division right now. Beholder is going to love a mile and a 16th. I know she likes Santa Anita. I really think it's between her and Authenticity. Be interesting to see how Beholder reacts around 2 turns against this class of older filly mare, whether or not she points for the sprint or the distaff after this.
All right, well, let's move now to the Beldame back on the East Coast and stay in the distaff division because we see that number 1 Royal Delta in here. Very interesting. They're running Princess of Silmar in here, a horse that's currently number 4. She's a 3-year-old going against olders. Tell me, you think Royal Delta gets it done?
I think we're going to learn a lot about how good the 3-year-old fillies are. She's the best of them going a route of ground, John, but frankly, Royal Delta, right now, with her cruising speed, as good as she's going, the fact that she loves Belmont, it's hard for me to see Princess of Silmar making a rally and overtaking Royal Delta in here. I just don't think there's enough quality speed to even soften up Royal Delta late. She's a circle for me.
All right, we're going to go now to the Kelso because now we're going to start talking about that Dirt Mile Classic division. There's so much crossover here.
Yes.
We see Gradar back in action. This is interesting because they were appointing Gradar for the race, the listed race at Churchill. Fort Larned decides to run in there. They decide to go for the Grade 2 and the win and you're in the Kelso. What do you think about Gradar's chances?
I really like his chances, John. What's interesting is his only loss came at Belmont. But the horse trains so well there. A 1-turn mile is right up his alley, and he's doing so well right now. And I look at this field, John. I mean, it's either horses that are over the hill or, frankly, horses that just aren't Grade 1 level horses, in my opinion. So I think Gradar has a big opportunity here to not only stamp his ticket to the Breeders' Cup, but he gives them options. Now they can go for the Dirt Mile off of this race, or they can go for the Classic. And if he is a horse that's still very under the radar, I mean, he still has Horse of the Year up for grabs, in my opinion. When Gradar wins this race and comes back and wins a Classic, you could be looking at Horse of the Year.
All right, let's move now to the Awesome again. It's out in California, and this race is important because we see Painter in here. Joel, for me, I think it's go time for Painter. I think he's got to win this race. Do you think he gets it done?
You know, I do think he gets it done. I was shocked that Kettle Corn didn't enter in this race. I thought he was going to be the chief competition. Kettle Corn's a horse that got really good when they added blinkers on him, but they can run him on the grass and the John Henry instead. Very puzzling move to me, but when I look at, the Awesome Again Stakes, it's clearly between Painter trying to rebound and then facing Mucho Macho Man, a horse that I thought ran the best in the Breeders' Cup Classic last year. Just Fort Larned got loose on him. Is Mucho Macho Man's feet good enough on that type of track to give Painter a race in the stretch? We'll see, but I like Painter in this race.
All right, and the biggest race of the weekend, in our opinion, the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and here's why. Here's why we say it's the biggest, is because we see the 3-year-olds going against the olders in here. Of course, I'm talking about Orb and Palace Malice going against Cross Traffic, a horse who is running so well right now. Joel, tell me about this race.
I really think you're right. It's a gauge between how good the 3-year-olds are against the older horses going to classic distance. We're going to find out right now because I think the best 10 furlong horses, everybody wants to get on Will Take Charge's bandwagon right now. I think Orb was short in the Travers. Still, his Derby performance is really good. Obviously, Palace Malice, a horse, if he breaks in the Travers, I think he wins the race. So 2 horses, Palace Malice loves Belmont. 2 horses, in my opinion, 2 3-year-olds, at a classic distance, I think could be a threat later on in the Breeders' Cup Classic next month as developing 3-year-olds. However, they need to show it this weekend. Cross Traffic, 1-turn, Belmont. I tell you what, I don't know if Cross Traffic is a true classic horse or not. I don't know if he's going to like 10 furlongs, but it's a 1-turn, 10 furlongs. First time, he's fresh, training well. I think Cross Traffic, with his cruising speed, I think he beats this field, John, and we're going to find out how good the 3-year-olds are between Palace Malice and Orb. And I do think Palace Malice holds the key to the race because he's going to try to stalk his stablemate Cross Traffic, and depending on how aggressive Mike Smith gets is going to really tell the tale, in my opinion, on Cross Traffic winning this race or maybe being used up early. And then you got to worry about horses like Flat Out coming from off the pace.
Well, Joel, they call it Super Saturday for a reason.
A lot of action.
A lot of good races. It's going to be exciting. Make sure you
is.
come back next week, man. We're going to talk about these races and see how they shake up the top 5s.
Bet with TwinSpires.com and you can earn exclusive access to Kentucky Derby tickets. Wager at least $2,000 on races from Churchill Downs tracks or $4,000 total in September to earn VIP status. But only at TwinSpires.com.